Mayor and Borough Council meeting number 4, held today on February 8th in the year 2021. It's time to calling to order and a statement of notice of publication. Mr. Bray.
In compliance with Chapter 231 of Public Laws 1975, notice of this meeting was given by way of annual notice filed with the Borough Clerk, the Home News Tribune, the Sentinel, and posted on the bulletin board in the Borough of South River Municipal Building. Be it further resolved that the mayor and council are holding this meeting via online video conference provided by Zoom. The provisions of Open Public Meetings Act NJSA 10:4-8, this meeting will be held by means of electronic communications equipment due to the COVID-19 pandemic. No members of the public shall be permitted to physically attend the meeting. The public, however, is invited to attend the meeting electronically. The mayor and council may take formal action at this meeting. The borough is using this format in an effort to mitigate the chance of exposure to COVID-19 as part of the borough's ongoing efforts to slow the rate of transmission and avoid overwhelming our treatment centers. This action will be enforced for all existing regular meetings until otherwise notified by public notice.
Thank you. Very good, sir. Roll call.
Mayor Krenzel.
Here.
Councilwoman Ballas.
Here.
Councilman Sila.
Here.
Councilman Gindi.
Here.
Councilman Krasinski.
Here.
Councilwoman Mara.
Here.
Council President Eppinger.
Here.
All right, then. Let us have the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the
of the
United
United States of America
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under
under God,
indivisible, with liberty
liberty and justice for all.
Please, we ask that you have a moment of silence. Thank you. There are no proclamations, honor, awards, and presentations. We're not going into executive session, nor do we have anything on the agenda session. We do have, that means that according to our agenda, we do have an ordinance, second reading, and a public hearing. First, Mr. Bray.
Ordinance 2021-2, ordinance to exceed the municipal budget cap appropriation limits and establish a cap bank for calendar year 2021. Whereas local government cap.
Move to waive the full reading, Mr. Mayor.
Second. Motion has been made by Mr. Eppinger to waive the full reading, seconded by Mr. Gindi. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? The ayes have it. Opening this up to the public, please give your name and address when you come, and you can ask questions or make comments. To get our attention, you may either literally wave or wave using the Zoom app. We'll wait a moment while somebody come. Seeing none, motion to close.
Motion.
Second.
Motion has been made by Mr. Gindi, seconded by Mrs. Ballas. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? The ayes have it. Pleasure on this ordinance.
Move the ordinance as presented.
I'll second it.
The ordinance has been moved by Mr. Eppinger, seconded by Mr. Gindi. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Councilwoman Ballas.
Yes.
Councilman Sila.
Yes.
Councilman Gindi.
Yes.
Councilman Krasinski.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mara.
Yes.
Council President Eppinger.
Yes.
Very good.
Our next meeting is the 4th of March, right, Bill?
Yes.
Hold on.
No.
1st of March.
That's what I said, right, Donna?
The first Monday in March, yes.
Thank you. March 1st. Thank you.
This year, March and February are twins. I'll ask Mr. Zenga to explain a little bit about what our second reading ordinance was all about. But now we have another ordinance, 2020-03, which is on first reading by title.
Well, actually, Mr. Mayor, that should be 2021-03, right?
Yes.
Yes.
It's
you're right.
2020, but it's 2021.
Oh, just tripping down memory lane here.
Why?
Well, back January and February of 2020 weren't so bad. We didn't have any snow, and COVID had yet not reared its ugly head as high as it has. So it's now 2021-03 ordinance. Mr. Eppinger, if you could,
Well,
kind.
I think Mr. Bray has to introduce it first.
Yeah, okay then, Mr. Bray.
Ordinance 2021-03, an ordinance of the Borough of South River, County Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending the code of the Borough of South River so as to amend Chapter 295 entitled Subdivision and Site Plan Review, Stormwater Management.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council pass ordinance 2021-2003, on first reading by title only. The clerk be authorized to publish as required by law, with the second reading and public hearing to be held on March 1st, 2021 at 7 p.m. by ways electronic teleconference or council chambers of the Borough of the Criminal Justice Building at 61 Main Street, Borough of South River.
Second it.
Motion has been made by Mr. Eppinger, seconded by Mrs. Ballas. Roll call.
Councilwoman Ballas?
Yes.
Councilman Siula?
Yes.
Councilman Gindi?
Yes.
Councilman Krasinski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mera?
Yes.
Council President Eppinger?
Yes.
Moving on to the agenda, to our reports, as we traditionally do, we will begin with Mr. Koch, our borough engineer. Good evening, Mr. Koch.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The improvements to Alborn Street and the curb and sidewalk program. The curb and sidewalk is done. The one remaining punch list is some signposts, and with this weather, they just aren't out doing that. If we get a clear spell, I hope to get that done, and we'll close that out. Well, number 2 replacement. The pre-construction meeting is scheduled for Wednesday. George Street Firehouse, I reviewed the final payment for that today, and that is being processed. 2020 local aid program, the DOT grant. Our survey crew has that work lined up in their workload, and again, with the weather, it's just a little delay. And the 2021, we issued a proposal to the borough for that, and when you are ready to put your financing in place, if you like, we can move forward with that. As we discussed briefly earlier, this evening was the HCD Citizens Participation Meeting. The group had a very nice discussion, very thorough. Recognizing that Daly's Pond Park is not in the target area, but feeling that there is a lot of work that could be done there, the first recommendation from the group, which I will put into writing, is to use $70,765 for improvements to Daly's Pond Park, and the balance for ADA improvements at Krakowski Park, which also isn't in the target area, but ADA improvements are considered eligible outside of the target areas. If I've been asked to check with those who run the consortium for the program to see why Daly's, to ask that Daly's be allowed to be in the program, even though it is now outside of the target area. Actually, it always was, but it was adjacent to, and for a time we were allowed to do that. Lately, the decision has been it has to be in the target area. So I will check to find out the answer to that. But if the answer is no, then the second recommendation is to use the $70,765 for improvements to the Fitzpatrick Field Recreation Area, and the balance to still go to the ADA improvements at Krakowski Park. I will prepare a memo with minutes of the meeting and with these items in it, and we'll make every effort to get an answer from the county regarding this, so that you as a governing body can take action on it.
Excellent. Any questions for Bruce?
I do, Bruce.
Yes.
Do we know when, because I believe we haven't received last year's yet, correct?
Correct.
So do we have a time frame for that, or?
I do not. I have reached out. Mr. Bray has reached out. We haven't, unfortunately, neither of us have had a response. I reached out for some information. He reached out to some, didn't get a response. I do know that they are only in the office alternating, and I'm not sure what the reason is, but when I reach out to them with the questions regarding this, I will ask that question as well.
Okay, and that one from last year was for various parks, right?
That is correct, within the target area. I'm going by, let me check. I have a piece of paper here which I think has that on it. I can put my finger on it now, but Joe, do you remember on your punch list? I don't want to hold up the meeting.
Yeah, it was for the carport down at Public Works for the Office on Aging vehicles, and it was half, I think 41,000 for parks.
Okay, thank
So
you.
it was split 50-50. I think 40,000 or so for the carport, and then 40-something thousand for parks in the target area.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Hearing none, wish you a good night, Mr. Koch.
Thank you all, and
Good night, Bruce.
Have a good night, Bruce.
Good
Right.
night, Bruce.
Moving on to Mr. Zenga, and also if you could be, again, to explain the ordinance of 2021-02 as to why that is important, and your
Sure.
report.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, that's the only thing I was going to explain anyway. What that ordinance does is it gives the borough the flexibility during the budget process. Each year, the state of New Jersey allows each municipality inside the cap expenses to go up a certain percentage. These are your salaries, your insurance, sewage treatment costs. And this year, the state allowed it to be 1%. When you pass this ordinance, we're allowed to increase it to 3.5%. And if we do not utilize that amount in this year's budget, you're allowed to carry forward and bank it for the next 2 budget years. So you might not need it this year, but there's a possibility in 2022 or 2023 you can use it and need it. So that's why you pass the ordinance, and it's a good financial plan to do. That's it.
Anything else to report?
No.
Okay. Anything for Mr. Zenga?
I do, Mr. Zanga. You were mentioning that you had to prepare the folders. Can you do that digitally, or does it have to be in the paper for the budget meeting?
Whatever you prefer, whatever the budget committee prefers.
Councilman Eppinger?
I haven't really thought about whether the folders paper or not. It doesn't bother me. If everybody'd rather get them digitally, that's fine. It's a lot of paper. It's a lot of things to go through. If you don't want to kill the trees, I completely understand, but it's everybody gets a copy. Whatever everybody feels doesn't bother me. I like the paper because you can go through it, and there's a lot. This is, Joe, what are we talking? A couple hundred pages?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's your guys' call. I'm ambivalent. I'd rather have the paper, but I can look at it on my computer.
I agree with you, Ray. I'd rather have the paper. This way you can fan through it and go back and forth.
Anybody else? I think Julie, you'd rather have it electronically?
Well, I was just trying to save some time for Mr. Zenga. Got a lot of them, and he said he would need help to get them done. So I figured it was online and it'd be easier to just click send. But
Yeah, we have the part-time Office on Aging staff is going to come next Tuesday, the 16th, to copy them if needed. If not, I'll do whatever the council prefers.
Joe, do a paper.
That's 3 papers,
I rather have paper also.
4 papers.
Paper.
Jimmy.
Paper.
Paper it is.
All right.
Okay. I was going to say something about paper, scissors, rocks, and things, but all right then. Anything else, Mr. Zenga? Thank you. The man of the hour. My apologies again, sir, for disturbing you this morning. I did not mean that, Mr. Suarez, but I had forgotten that you had taken the day off.
Yep,
I was
all right.
reminded that you traditionally have done that, but would you like to give a report as to how are we
Yes.
doing with our snow?
Oh, wonderful, man. We're going to get hit some more, it looks like, this week and next week. So, and I want to talk about the borough calendar, about the error that's in there, the recycling dates. were wrong, so please don't go by them dates. We made a revised flyer that we attached to the calendar. We put it on the Borough website and also our Facebook page. Okay, we apologize for that. And also, we canceled bulk for this week due to the snow coming on Thursday and Friday. And also, we're still out there, Mayor. We're cleaning up to the, answering the complaints. So if people are patient, we have a long list. We will get to as many as we can to the next storm. That's all I have, Mayor.
It's understandable. The correction to the calendar is acceptable. I mean, people will understand that the dates were put down wrong, and it's a good little calendar. They can see that. Actually, they could even put it separately from the main calendar just to see what it is. So that was a good call in doing that. I know you're doing the best you can. I mean, some of the guys were working 30 hours with the Sunday storm there. And, you do the best you can. One of the things that we're faced with is the fact is that we are getting more and more snowstorms. I mean, we've been spoiled these past few years, but now with they're coming so big, our little fleet of pickup trucks is not going to be able to handle it. So we're going to have to order a larger truck, another one. So I know you're doing the best you can, and kudos to our DPW there. So anything for Mr. Soares? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I don't miss anybody. Our chief of police there. Hello, sir.
Hello, Mayor. Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
I don't have anything for the agenda this evening, but I do have a promotion for the Cram the Cruiser food drive, which is coming up Saturday, February 20th. It's from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. right here at police headquarters. We're looking for non-perishable items and donations. All of that stuff will go to help stock the food bank like we did last year. That's all I have for that. And another note, these storms, I mean, there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to parking. Some emergency snow streets, people don't have driveways. People have too many cars to put in certain locations. If you could just help out the police department and the borough, the Department of Public Works, when it snows, please try to find somewhere to put your car, because it just gets worse and worse. And especially when we have all these snowstorms coming back to back, there's nowhere to put the snow. And I commend the DPW workers. They're out there working out there pretty hard, especially during the middle of the night. And so are my officers. They're out there trying to move cars. There's no win in this situation. We get complaints from people saying, why aren't you ticketing cars? Why aren't you honking your horns? Why aren't you getting on the loudspeakers telling the people to move? And then you get people complaining, why are you getting on your loudspeakers telling people to move? Why don't you get out of your cars and ticket people? And then people will be complaining, why are you ticketing me and not that person? So just be patient. Hopefully spring will come really fast and all this snow will melt. That's all I have, Mayor.
The bad news is the groundhog said it's going to be 6 weeks. So, okay. Anything for the chief? You said Cram the Cruiser February 20th. Do you know the times?
It is 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
10 to 1? Excellent.
Hopefully it doesn't snow and we actually have the event.
Yeah.
That would be behind the Criminal Justice Building, right, Chief?
No, that'd be right on Main Street.
Front.
Main Street.
The front.
Right on front? Okay.
Right on Main Street. I have more information. I can announce it. I have
Okay.
time and stuff. Okay.
All right, then. Let's see. Going around, we have Mr. Bray. Anything from the clerk's department?
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Okay, then. Mrs. Wyatt, anything from legal?
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Okay, that leaves Mr. Lundensky. Mr. Lundensky, anything to report?
Thank you, Mayor. Few things to report. We've been getting in applications for the assistant administrative assistant. Because of the snow, we're backed up a little bit on it. We have about 6 applications that'll be reviewed this week and either ask for personal interviews or do Zoom meetings. The water treatment plant we're running during the day. We're getting the kinks out. I hope by the March 1st meeting that I can have our consultant at the meeting to report that our plant is running 100%. It looks like that we're in the right direction on that. All the testing of the water has come back excellent, and we're just getting the bugs out and moving forward. That's basically what I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, anything for Mr. Lindensky? All right, then let us have the governing bodies reports. Councilwoman Mara?
I actually had a question for Mr. Bray, since he had nothing to report. Are there any mercantile licenses for this month?
We have several in process. There are a couple that are being held up because that I mentioned before, because they are requiring interior fit outs. So the health department can't do their inspections until those fit outs are built. And then we have a few. There is a property out on Whitehead Avenue. It is I guess a light industrial flex space facility. We have several permits in process there, but some of that building is still going through its construction permitting process, so they can't get some of their sign-offs to complete that as well.
Okay.
And we do actually, I didn't mention this, we do have a liquor license transfer on tonight's agenda. This would be for a liquor store that's going in where the wine shop, I'm told, used to be on Old Bridge Turnpike. They as well have not filed for their interior fit out permits, so they will not be active immediately, but this will allow them to open their doors at that location when they are.
Okay. That's all I had for Mr. Bray. I still have not had any of my meetings to report anything on, but I did attend the HCD meeting that was before this one. I want to thank Mr. Londensky for mentioning Fitzpatrick Park and possibly doing that the bouncy ground instead of the chips for Fitzpatrick Park, if that becomes an option. It's always good to see the improvements go to our park. I'm hoping within our budget committee, if we do get all of this passed for our park improvements through HCD, if we could rethink a little bit the money that we have aside for parks in the budget this year, since we don't have any money for roads. But that's just my opinion. I just wanted to put that out there, since 2 years in a row we'll have HCD money if we could think about the roads in our budget this year. Besides that, I have nothing further, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Gurczynski.
Thank you, Mayor. The Office on Aging is open again. They have their criteria posted on the website, and also when you go there is social distancing. I believe a lot of the seniors prefer to be outside, but this type of weather, I don't think it's very desirable, especially if you're a senior. I'd also like to thank the DPW for the outstanding job that they did. I know that there's a few people that weren't exactly thrilled about some of the plowing and everything too, but you have to consider for 8 guys to do 60 miles of roadway throughout the borough, and there is just about 60 miles. That's a lot of work. And like you said, some of the guys, they've been up 30-hour days, if not more. And really, my congratulations to the guys. They did an outstanding job. Even when they came back the next days to clear some of the corners and the storm sewers for runoff, they kept at it and they got it done. I would also like to thank our police department for their cruiser and their vigilance over throughout the community, and Robert Wood Johnson for the calls that they had made throughout the month, and our fire department for some of the calls that they had made. With that, I'm pretty much it, Mayor. I thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Gindi.
Thank you. Well, all we have is the next planning board meeting, which is going to be on February 16th, and the next zoning board meeting, which is on February 23rd. As for the Parks and Rec, we will be meeting hopefully in March. And, that's all I have to report.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Ciula.
Thank you, Mayor. We haven't really had a chance to do much on the environmental committee. To try and get together with them, hopefully before our next council meeting, to give some sort of report and see how we're going to progress forward with them. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you. Mrs. Ballas.
With the schools, the meal distribution for the remainder of February will be the 10th, the 17th, the 22nd, and the 24th between 10 and 2. You can double check on the website to make sure which days, because they do have it split up as to who goes on what day. If I could expand on the chief's report on the Cram the Cruisers food drive, the donations for non-perishable food items as well as monetary donations will be accepted in front of Southwark Police Headquarters, 61 Main Street, on Saturday, February 20th between 10 and 1. In order to maintain social distancing, people have to adhere to the following rules when dropping off donations. You pull up in front of headquarters, you exit your vehicle, you respect any social distancing markings on the ground, and you must wear a face mask when you are outside your vehicle. I know last time it was a great success, and I urge everyone to help out and replenish our food bank, because they really need it. They are getting called on immensely now. So they need our help, and we should step up. And that's it.
Thank you. Mr. Eppinger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a few things. The mayor and I think everybody got the email today from Evelina at the library. They reorganized in January, and I want to congratulate Mrs. Roselli for being the trustees president for another year. She does an outstanding job. That board is up and running. The next big event that's coming up besides in a couple of weeks will be our next trustees meeting. But on Tuesday, March 2nd, that is Read Across America Day. And normally what happens is the mayor and some of the council folks and other the librarians and such will go into the schools and read Dr. Seuss books. And unfortunately, because of the pandemic, like so many other things, it's going to be modified this year. We're going to be able to go to the library if we'd like and record some books and reading of some books, and then they will be played to the kids. Mayor, I didn't know the one you were talking about, but then again, I only have so many of the Dr. Seuss books. And usually it's I like All the Places You Go will probably be my my read this year. We also had our first budget committee finance meeting last week. We discussed the budget and started talking about different things, and to the point that Councilman Mira brought up tonight, Mr. Zanga, I believe we discussed that about the fact that the monies that the borough spent on roads last year, that was done through the bond ordinances, as opposed to the money that, as in past years, I think it was $200,000 a couple of years ago that was put in the budget, never spent on roads anyway. But what we're trying to, we know that there was an awful lot of roads and an awful lot of work that needs to be done. But we're going to use what we're trying to maximize the money we get from the DOT, and we will try to figure out what we can do to try to take care of not only our parks but also our roads. It's as usual, the wish list and what we would like to get done is far greater than the monies that we have. And that's the fun part about being on the budget committee and being on the council. We can have those discussions. We will be meeting again. When are we meeting again? Wednesday? Next Wednesday?
Wednesday, 17th.
Wednesday the 17th. So we will be we'll be meeting next Wednesday to have another budget hearing, and then we will be introducing in the near future after that. So that's what I have for reports this week, Mr. Mayor.
Very good. I'm glad you're going to participate in celebrating Dr. Seuss's birthday. Yes. Could you on a plane? Could you on a train? So another great classic, Green Eggs and Ham. I mentioned everything going through with everybody's reports, so I have nothing to report. We will now therefore go on with our agenda to public comments. You'll be given 10 minutes. You can ask questions or make comments. Please give your name and address. And again, if you'd like to be recognized, literally raise your hand or raise your hand using the Zoom app. Yes, I see Mr. Trigar wishes to say something.
All right, thank you, Mayor and Council. First, I'd like to say that I think you guys did a great job on clearing out the municipal parking lot. It was excellent. But we had a lot of people like parking in the parking lot with no permits. And I guess my point is I'm not blaming anybody on the current council or the administration. A lot of this stuff is from prior administrations, which had a kind of an attitude of there's going to be self-driving cars, we won't need parking anywhere. Anybody who opens up a business can just park in the street. And obviously that doesn't really work. We can see that now. And I guess my point is, as we go ahead this year and review the master plan, it will just keep that in mind, that parking is important. Off-street parking is very important. And, you know, when we go for variances or approvals for various projects downtown or in the rest of the town, that the off-street parking is important, and we should consider that. So that's pretty much all I want to say. Like I say, excellent job downtown. I was very happy. And one other thing, there's a parking sign at the corner of Ferry in Washington. It looks excellent. And it's about time that we have stuff like that put up downtown. And I just want to say, you know, attaboy to everybody who is behind that, and thanks. Very good.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else that would like to make comments, ask questions on first call, second call, third call?
Motion to close.
Second.
Motion has been made by Mr. Gindi, seconded by Mrs. Ballas. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? The ayes have it. Moving on to our consent resolutions. Mr. Bray?
As Resolution 2021-1 authorized Borough Council to utilize the consent agenda to adopt various resolutions of a routine, non-controversial nature at one time. Now, therefore, be it and is hereby resolved that the below listed resolutions are hereby adopted by the Borough Council in whole as the same were individually acted upon. 75, authorized payments to South River Board of Education requisition for taxes. 76, approved contract for architecture services. 77, approved contract for Byram Labs. 78, approved place-to-place liquor license transfer, South River Spirits and More. 79, authorized release of performance bond. 80, approved utility consumer refunds. 81, approved January 25th, 2021 minutes. 82, approved bills.
Your pleasure on the consent.
Move the consent resolution.
Second.
Motion has been made by Mr. Eppinger, seconded by Mrs. Ballas. Roll call.
Councilwoman Ballas?
Yes.
Councilman Siula?
Yes.
Councilman Gindi?
Yeah, yes, with the abstention from bills number 82, 21, 00288.
Councilman Gerchensky?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mera?
Yes.
Council President Eppinger?
Yes.
Thank you. There's nothing under new business, so we'll go to our governing body comments, which is basically for the good and welfare of the borough. Mrs. Mera?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to let everybody know that we have a few spots open for the Human Relations Commission. Like I had mentioned to the mayor at the beginning of the year, I believe there was 2 people that were assigned to it that will no longer be able to. So if anybody is interested in being a part of the Human Relations Commission, to please contact me or anybody at the borough, Mr. Londensky. Hopefully, we will be able to get a meeting done for this month. We have spoken with the other members, but we would like to have a full commission this year. I know it's been hard for everybody to get together, but we're determined to get it all virtually. I'm excited about having the applications for the deputy clerk, the deputy or assistant administrative position within the borough. Hopefully we can have that on our agenda for the next meeting. My hopes for this year before 48 Washington opens to the public is to have them fully ready to go with the employees that they need and the assistance that they've been asking for. So hopefully we can get that done. With that, I'd just like to say, stay warm, stay safe. I know the kids are happy to be back into school hybrid. Not today because they weren't able to go today, but they will be hopefully tomorrow. And just want you all to be careful. It is very slippery out there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Gruchetsky.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, I'd like to extend my gratitude to our emergency service workers and our borough workers at DPW. For what they did during these past storms. I know they took a lot of abuse as far as some of the plowing and everything goes, but you know, they did what they did. And like I said, it's a limited crew and they've got a lot to cover. And with that, I wish all the ladies and girls out there a very happy Valentine's Day this coming Sunday. Okay?
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Gindi.
Thank you. Well, as you all heard, the Cram the Cruiser food drive, it's February 20th at the police department between 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Please come out and donate. Greatly appreciated. The chief, I know you don't like to hear this, but yes, my boy, the Cowboys, Drew Pearson, made it to the Hall of Fame. That's right, Cowboys. And the last and final, I know this has been a very, very hard thing to talk about because a lot of people have been complaining. I've been watching social media about snow removal. I'm going to tell you, it's the most hardest thing to do. As easy as it sounds, it's hard. I know because I do it. I do it for my company. When you think your road has not been plowed, it probably was, but more snow came down and you didn't see that plow truck come by. We have approximately 60 miles worth of road in this town. So when they come past you, they're going to other roads throughout the town. By the time they come back to you, you already have that complaint out to social media. Please bear with them. They are doing their best to clear the roads for this town. They're just like you. We all live in the same town. We all drink the same water, use the same electricity. So they are out for you as well. So it's not easy. I commend them. I applaud them. Keep up the good work to the DPW. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Seala.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, I just want to thank all our police, fire, and rescue for taking care of everything during these storms. Our DPW, as Councilman Gindi and Councilman Kuczynski said, they did a fantastic job. They worked very hard. I rode around town and I noticed the plow went through on certain streets and the people came out and cleaned off their cars and threw everything right back into the street. People were snow blowing, but the chute going right back into the street. And then they had the nerve to call up and complain at the DPW office, and not complain in a normal fashion, but literally abused the people that were answering the phones. It's not right. The guys worked very, very hard to clean this town up. And if people are putting snow back into the street, not moving their cars off the street, and blocking the entrances to some of the streets, therefore the plows can't get through. And when they do plow you in and you have to shovel your car out, people complain and they put the snow back into the middle of the street. Please remove your cars, put them someplace on your front lawn, the side of your house, wherever. Keep the streets clear so the plows can come down and clear the snow for you. And if you are cleaning your car off, please don't put it back into the street. Please don't use a snow blower and push it into the street. The guys are trying to do the best, working 30 hours and more, and then coming back to clean everything up. So if all possible, please get your cars off the streets, okay? And if you have a problem, be nice to the guys when you call down there. Explain the situation, give them your address, and they'll try and get out there as quickly as possible to clear the area. With that, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Ballas.
Well, I'd like to also congratulate Drew, but Mr. Gindi, first and foremost, he was a Ram first before he was a Cowboy. So that's how I remember him, and being a very good friend to my family. So congratulations, it's about time, and maybe there's a Canton trip in the future for who wants to go? Maybe me, I don't know. Again, with the roads, I also drove around when I could after my sidewalk and my driveway and everything was clean. But please, if you can, clear your sidewalks, by the fire hydrants. I did see a few that were not cleared around. So if you're in the neighborhood or it's by your house, please clean that. As the mayor said the other day on Facebook, the house you save may be your own. You got to make sure the fire hydrants are clean. Our guys, I thought, did a fantastic job. Keep it up. Stay safe. We have another snowy week coming up. So with that, that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Eppinger.
Thank you. I don't know if we should let Mr. Gindi speak anymore because he's not adhering to the official dress code. I do not see a collar and I do not see the borough seal on that shirt. So Mr. Gindi, you have to clean up your act, buddy. I mean, I have to watch you at all times. This is, come on, get with the program here. You got a nice shirt like this. Be proud. Be proud of being a councilman. And I will say, and pardon the pun, but I will pile on with the snow removal. As Mr. Suarez can tell you, when as many of you know, I live on a dead end street. And I said, go ahead, pile this snow up because there's no place to put it. 20 inches of snow or whatever we had is an awful lot of snow. So like I said to the mayor, I have so much snow on my front lawn, on the hill in my front of my house, that if we do have a Memorial Day parade, I'm selling snow cones because I'm still going to have snow. It's 4 or 5 feet high, but that's okay. We got the street cleared off. One of the things that we're going to have to address. The chief kind of touched on it a little bit. I know Mr. Suarez touched on it, and all of us are touching on it. In a sense, this isn't the South River that all of us grew up in. And what I mean by that is, remember the old days, I remember in my street, everybody had a car.
A car.
Maybe two cars, right? You had one in the, now, we were just as bad. At one point, when all 4 of my kids lived at home, we had 6 cars. 6 cars on the driveway. So I know from what we're talking about here. The problem is, if we expect, or if the residents expect, timely, complete safely cleaning our streets, I've already talked to the mayor, and nothing's being done this week, or nothing's going to be done for this year. We may have to talk about making the entire town snow emergency, so that we can plow the streets. Because we've got places that were horse cart paths 150 years ago, right? Some of the streets with 40 by 100 lots, and that's small. 35 by 100 in some places, right? There's no frontage, and people got cars. And again, this is the balance. You can't tell people not to have a car, obviously, but at the same time, we have to be able to plow the streets, and the time that it takes. I mean, when you have a street where the DPW can go curb to curb, right, side to side, clear it all off, takes just a fraction of the amount of time that it takes when you're trying to go weave through cars and stuff like that. So it's something we're going to have to come up with a better mousetrap, and especially in our older sections. Now, I don't want anybody running, calling the mayor tomorrow, or calling the police chief saying, oh my gosh, I can't park on the street. We'd rather, if it's not a snow emergency street, yes, we'd rather you not park on the street. We'd rather you become like the old days. Let's try to, we talk about it takes a village. Well, it takes a borough to get the streets plowed. Anything you can do to get your cars off the street and vehicles off the street is going to make Mr. Suarez and his crew, their lives much easier and our town much safer. So I know we've talked about this a lot, and I'm sure the mayor will have a couple comments as well, but it's really a safety issue, number one. Safety issue for all of us people, all the folks who live here. And when we do have storms like this wasn't like 2 or 3 inches, obviously. It was a very major snowstorm. And my gosh, I ran something to the post office today, and Mr. Suarez's crew was still out cleaning out catch basins and digging by hand and doing what they can to make sure that the water now flows when it warms up and then it gets cold again. And as everybody's mentioned, there's more snow coming. So again, we get it. We all, it's not, we can just snap our fingers and say, get your cars off the street. It's not that simple. We completely understand that. But we're going to have to put our heads together and figure out something, some sort of system, so that we can make the roads safe, plowed, and make sure our residents can actually access and get out if they have to. So, and as just the final thing is, yes, please make sure. I saw a couple today. If you have a fire hydrant on your property, dig it out, because your house may be the one that's being saved in a fire. So, thank you, Mr. Mayor. You can back clean up and talk about the snow.
Yes, if you have any comments about it, send an email to Mr. Eppinger. I won't beat a dead horse, but simply to say that it's just galling when people have enough space on their property, in their driveway, to park their cars, but you leave them out on the road. It doesn't make sense. Why do you do that? We don't know, but quite a few people do that. So I got somebody right here in my own neighborhood that did that, and it's like, it boggles the mind. Common sense, people. There's lots of snow, and I keep hearing I haven't heard anything official, but I keep hearing about this next week's storm. That would be the
Sunday into Monday.
Yeah, the 15th, I guess. It's Sunday there, 14th into 15th. Where are we going to put it? We got to get the catch basins cleared, because when this starts to melt, wow, what a mess. And if we get another, you don't have to get 18 inches, 12 inches, 6 inches. Where are we going to put it? What we have now is already hardening like a rock. So people, be wise in handling snow. Remember how you used to handle it. So happy Valentine's Day. Happy President's Day. Glad that the Football Hall of Fame finally came to its senses. Very good, Drew. Somebody looked into getting tickets to Canton. They've already been sold out. So drat that Peyton Manning. But anyway, is there anything else to come before us? Hearing none, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Gindi, seconded by Mr. Gerchensky. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? The ayes have it. We will see you on March the 1st. Good night.
Good night, all.
Good
Stay
night.
safe.